guys, it looks like EA may finally be hitting their own slowdown going on here in the gaming industry. This is a cow's opinion. We don't need a catchphrase. We are here to deliver the greatest, worst, and sometimes sadly expected but not crowed upon news in the gaming industry. Now, a lot of AAA publishers have been, for a variety of reasons, greed, top-down decisions that make no sense, poor writing, weird decision-making. I could make a whole video just on their bad decisions. But a lot of the AAA developers have been having slowdowns. They've been laying people off for the decisions made at the leadership level, which always sucks. And today, Electronic Arts was no different. Mike Straw here on Insider Gaming has the scoop because they announced that unfortunately the newest Dragon Age in 10 years, the Veilguard, failed to meet internal expectations, which is a translation for we thought it would sell X and it sold whatever instead. And that EA, in fact, has had to lower their revenue forecast, not just for the quarter, but for the fiscal year because of how badly it missed. By a wide margin. We're going to look into that. As always, if you enjoy these, you can always like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if there's anything you want covered. But Dragon Age has engaged apparently 1.5 million players during the quarter. Now, I'm not trying to badmouth them. 1.5 million people is great. Here's the problem. That was down nearly 50% from company expectations. That's a huge miss. Dragon Age got picked up by 1.5 million people, but they were expecting nearly double that in sales. That's not good at all. I'm not trying to take a dump on people's hard work or go, ha ha ha. I'm sure there's plenty of other YouTubers doing that right now, guys. We are concerned in the cold, hard data and facts. We have no room for love here. But because of this, as well as EA Sports FC 25, which we will look at here in a bit, they have adjusted their net bookings to be between 7 and 7.15 billion. That's a lot of money. But here's the thing, guys. They were expecting the net bookings for the year, or the amount of stuff that they sold, to be $7.5 to $7.8 billion, and have adjusted their expectations to $2.21 billion for the quarter itself. So let's put that into context. At best, they were expecting $7.5 billion, and they made 7.15, which means at best they were $350 million light. At worst, the difference between 7 and 7.8 is $800 million. These are not insignificant misses, unfortunately, guys. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of cheddar. That is a huge, huge, huge revision. And it's, for those of you who don't know about corporate stuff, sometimes numbers have to be revised, and it's not, your stock will tank a little or take a hit for a couple of days. But what investors don't want to see is this. They don't want to see your new top line number be above your old bottom line, because it means you grossly overpromised and underdelivered. During quarter 3, we continued to deliver high quality games and experiences across our portfolio. Well, no, you didn't, because you were hundreds of millions of dollars light. However, Dragon Age and EA Sports FC 25 underperformed on net booking expectations, says EA CEO Andrew Wilson in a prepared statement. He won't take any questions on that, and I wouldn't too, because you're just going to get bogged down and accidentally give some journalist internet fodder for a news cycle. We remain confident in our long-term strategy and expect to return to growth in fiscal year 26 as we execute against our pipeline. So Dragon Age came out on October 31st. To favorable reviews from critics, which is good, but as we can see, the sales not so much. And the game's director, Kareem Bush, has recently left BioWare after 18 years with the company for a new opportunity. Also, when the game sells half of what you expect and the director leaves, look, I'm not trying to say anything. You don't need to read between the lines. That's obviously not good. EA will present full earnings on February 4th if you're interested. And Insider Gamers will be on that call. You can get on these earnings calls no matter what. If you own a single share, you can arrange to be on the earnings call. You may not be able to ask any questions, but any shareholder or any news outlet can get on these earnings calls. It's not a problem. What do you think of Dragon Age: The Veilguard missing external expectations? Well, Let's take a look at it, because look, it's not a terrible looking game. Now, there was criticism, and I can kind of understand this, that you took a violent adult fantasy world and you made it into Critical Role. And I'm not saying anything bad about Critical Role. Sure, Campaign 3 has also missed expectations. There's a lot of missed expectations coming out from fantasy people these days. What the hell's going on? That's a video someone needs to make. I'm not saying Critical Role is still a fun time, but it actually had a lot of the problems with Dragon Age. The story people didn't want, and characters people just weren't clicking with as much as previously. Weird writing. The gameplay was solid, and we are seeing that a lot in these misses, guys. Sometimes the games are buggy, but other times the gameplay is solid. The game is playable and plays well. It's just that you're not enjoying what it's playing. So from Video Games Chronicle, Andy Robertson, we have a little bit more, because they talk a little bit more about FC25 as well as the Dragon Age. Company warned the market that it now expects a mid-single-digit decline. You don't want a mid-single-digit decline. That means probably, I'd say, 4 to 7% decline, which is, as we saw with the numbers in the previous article, that's a lot of money during the Christmas period for the majority of the change. Now, Dragon Age released in October and engaged, which is the word they use, so that's interesting, 1.5 million players, which probably means that some people bought it for a price, some people were playing it on subscription services, and where you make some money, and some people probably bought it on sale. So, yeah, they probably were not making the full 1.5 million players worth of money like a new release, because engaged is an interesting word choice. When they start getting cute with their words, instead of just saying, hey, we sold 1.5 million copies, you know there's a little fuzzy. Yeah, Dragon Age and EA Sports FC 25 underperformed our booking expectations. Now, we have the... Why does Video Games Chronicles do this to me? I'm keeping it in, man. This is annoying. We have the same, numbers and booking stuff, but... This article also has a little bit extra because Stuart Canfield, the chief financial officer of... They're trying to hide the truth, but we see the truth, guys. I'm going to close this. Maybe it's just crashing it. You can't hide the truth from the cow. We play reporter and make-believe reporter like the best of them on this channel. Okay. Where is it? You can't hide from me. This month, our teams delivered a comprehensive gameplay refresh in addition to our annual Team of the Year update in FC25. Positive player feedback and early results are encouraging. We remain confident in our long-term strategy and expect a return to growth next fiscal year as we execute against our pipeline. Stuart Canfield, the CFO of EA, has added, we continue to balance investment for future growth with operational discipline. They're thinking of firing more people because they didn't make as much money as they got or wanted to get, and remain committed to EA's long-term financial framework. They care more about their shareholders than their players or employees. Always happy to provide the closed captions for these things. As we look to fiscal year 26, we expect to grow as we launch more of our iconic franchises. Dear God, we hope we don't screw up again like this. Released in October, Green Bush left, and FC25 received the game's most significant mid-season gameplay overhaul to date last week, like they said, which included some of the most sought-after community requests. So, what is the cow's opinion? We'll do FC25 first. It's a gacha game. You have to freaking open random card packs for the people that you use in online games. If it makes any time they lose money on that and can freaking change their discipline to be nicer to players, I'm fine with. Dragon Age, look, if you love Dragon Age, I'm not going to call you stupid. If you enjoyed the game, let me know in the comments below. Because you know what? You deserve to enjoy the game you spend your hard-earned money with. It's fine. A lot of people didn't. They didn't like the change in setting. They didn't like the more colorful, the less mature, the less gritty world that they were playing in. And look, genre, you can do a same genre multiple different ways. This Dragon Age looks a lot different than all the other Dragon Ages. It's okay. But obviously, this change, as well as a variety of factors, story writing, expectations, engagement with fans, the AAA game studios are spending hundreds of millions of dollars and years to develop games that are just not meeting their lofty expectations. Meanwhile, single A publishers and independent publishers are putting out some of the best stuff that we've ever seen. And this is something that, I feel like it's because these game developers have been telling us for the last couple of years what we want instead of giving us what we want. Case in point, we're playing Dragon Quest III Remake on the channel. It outsold physically Final Fantasy 16. And it probably sold more digitally. Which one of those things do you think was more expensive to make? It's not about ultra-realistic graphics and everything, although those are cool. The soundtrack is awesome, don't get me wrong. But it's not just about that. You have to have a great story and experience. And yeah, people still like old school stuff and people still like playing games. There's nothing wrong with a turn-based game. I know Asmongold doesn't like it, but Asmongold's allowed to like and not like what he wants. There's still markets for all of the stuff that we used to like. There's a reason why Sega and now Sony have publicly said we're starting to reopen old IP franchises. They all sat around and said, you know what? We used to make stuff that gamers would ask us for. Why don't we just give them what they want and get their money? And that's what they need to do. I don't want to see massive layoffs. I don't want anyone driven out. And I don't like when a bunch of hardworking developers, artists, coders, and the like spend years of their life making a game decided on by accountants and lawyers and MBAs that are used to Procter and Gamble, like the old Activision Blizzard, and don't understand why you can't just suddenly open new... How hard can it be to open a new studio? We open new factories all the time. Dummy. A creative product is different than a consumer good that is easily switchable. I like my Zest soap, but I'm not going to super notice if I replace it with another high-quality brand. But different games have very different styles. That was one of the things that Dragon Age had a problem with. People wanted a certain style, and they didn't get it, so they didn't play it. I don't like seeing these people, the developers, punished and lose their jobs and get mocked on the internet for stuff that's out of their control. I really think that in 2025, we're going to start seeing a lot more attention paid to gamers. I'm not talking about the whiners on Twitter who say that we should be loving this stuff, and I'm not talking about the angry people on Twitter that are saying this stuff sucks and everyone should just go to hell. I'm talking the actual people who put their money on the table and buy this stuff. That's who you need to... Don't listen to Twitter. A very small fraction of gamers are actively vocal and participating on Twitter. Don't listen to them. Listen to the actual sales and sales surveys that you get. Nobody else matters. Those two angry sides, let them just fight it out. They're going to fight no matter what. Don't let them fight over you. Just go stand over there and make your money. I want to see that in 2025. And you know what else we're looking for in 2025, guys? I think we're going to play Luna if I can get through these other RPGs. I think that we're going to play Two Point Museum. I think we're going to play a lot of games. I think we'll have a lot of fun this year. Maybe we can even get up to 1,000 subs and see what happens. Because I want to see what happens. And you know what else you can do besides seeing what happens with this great channel? You can play more games because games are awesome. Missed expectations are disappointingly not awesome, but you deserve awesome. And I'll see you next time. I remember when Dragon Age used to be just ultra violent. What happened, man? You used to be cooler.